Essential Elements. Is it good? All right, let's take a look. So the introductory pages to Essential Elements, it's a bit wordy, but the information is good. And this series starts everybody off on concert F and goes through the first 5 notes of the concert B flat scale, all on the first page and a half. And when it starts out, it puts the note, the letter inside the note head. It uses the word rest instead of an actual rest, but then by the bottom of the second page with music, it kind of takes all of that away. Now aesthetically, it's pretty clean. There's not a lot of clutter on the page. Most of the important stuff are in these boxes. I don't love the color of these boxes. It looks a little dehydrated. Perhaps this book needs to drink a little bit more water, but the information is easy to find. I think the sequencing is one of the things that kind of pushed me away from this book. And what I mean by that is it tends to introduce too many things too quickly. I'll give you an example. Okay, so on page 9, it's like, okay, here's a new note. Also, this is what a pickup note is. Also, here's dynamics. And okay, we're gonna just throw all that at you immediately. And my issue with this is the more things you throw at a student all at once, the more likely they are to learn by rote instead of actually like learning how to read the music. As far as clarinet goes, I really like how it handles teaching over the break. I think that's really, really well done. And it sequences that in a very good way. So meaning B flat to C first, and then it teaches E and B natural a little bit later, which I think is good. Worry about one pinky at a time. All right, let's look at the horn book. The horn book is okay. This series has the same issue that a lot of series have, which is that it has these like A pages and B pages, right? So the A pages, it's gonna give basically what the trumpets are playing, so C to G. The other pages are concert pitch. And the problem with concert pitch on French horn is that the notes are either too high or too low. So it does these like A page, B page things for a while, but like most method books, once you get around to page 14, it stops giving you the C to G, which is what trumpets have, and it gives you everything in octaves. And the high stuff is too high, like a D, for page 14, that's too high. But the low stuff is like way too low. It's going down to F below the staff. And from this point on, the horns just like crash and burn. So I really hate how method books do this. My solution is instead of giving everybody the horn book, I give all the horns the trumpet book and they just stay in the trumpet book for the whole year. Yes, that means they're a fourth below the rest of the band, but that's the most comfortable range for them to start out in. Okay, let's look at the percussion book. So here's where I have like a lot of issues with the series as a percussionist. Like the first half of it is like snare drum, and then the mallet stuff is like halfway through the spiral. So you need to mark this with like a Post-it or something. And I really dislike that because like if you're playing something on snare, you're like, okay, we're gonna play lightly row on snare. And you're like, cool, now it's played on mallets. It's like, oh, okay, let me flip 1,000 pages. It's still in the snare book, still, okay, now we're in the mallet book. Now we need to find lightly row, and it's just a lot of flipping and I really dislike that. I think the snare drum sequencing of skills is actually pretty good. It introduces things in a pretty in a pretty easy to understand way. Like here it introduces flams. It does a pretty good job with that as well. It introduces buzzes in a really common sense way, and it introduces accessories in a good way too. So I really like how they sequence the snare drum stuff. Where I take issue with this book is when it comes to the mallet stuff. So this book series, unlike most of the ones I'm going to talk about, they start the percussionist up in the flute range. So like they're all way up at the top of the staff. And I really dislike that because a lot of percussion music is under the staff. And then like they're gonna learn, Every Good Boy Does Fine and FACE like everybody else. But if you start them under the staff, then they learn the ledger line notes as well. And when they get their actual piece of music, they'll know what they're doing. If you just keep them up here for all of the beginning method book stuff, when you pass out your first piece of music and it's all under the staff, they're gonna freak out and they're not gonna know what to do. And that's gonna lead to them learning by rote instead of actually reading the notes. There is one area that this book is absolutely incredible at, and it almost made me switch back to it because it's so good, and that is Essential Elements Interactive. Essential Elements Interactive is amazing. This is like the gold standard for what all method books should have. You can listen to any song in the book with a metronome, with a variety of accompaniments. You can change the tempo. You can record yourself and submit it to a teacher. You can select any instrument. You can listen to it with accompaniment, without accompaniment, with solo and no accompaniment, but with accompaniment and no solo. This is basically smart music, but like free. Like any student that buys the book can access this, and it's amazing. This is especially good for your French horn players, so they can understand like what the pitches are actually supposed to sound like, so they have like kind of a hope of playing the right pitches when they're practicing at home. So if your division does not pay for a smart music subscription and you want them to play at home, this is amazing. All right, as far as generally speaking, the one big criticism I'd have is that the book throws too many concepts at the kids without getting to really practice any of them. It just keeps throwing new thing after new thing after new thing. And when you do that, the kids tend to learn by rote instead of learning how to actually read the music. They need time to reinforce a skill for several lines in the book before a new skill is introduced. And Essential Elements just throws skill after skill after skill. Almost every single line in the book introduces a new concept. And that's not enough reinforcement for me. So I end up having a lot of my own like supplemental materials that I made and, you know, a bunch of stuff that I made to kind of like ease that transition just a little bit. But there's a lot of things that I really like. And I think as far as method books goes, this one's really solid. A lot of people use it and a lot of people use it successfully. Essential Elements Interactive is amazing. It is the gold standard. I wish everybody had something like that for every single method book. I'm sure I missed some stuff. So if there's things you like or don't like about Essential Elements, put it in the comments below.